Okay, time for the startup recitation, last one of this cycle, and a very important one, looking at routes to commercialize and build programs around everything that you've learned. And so for this, we've got a range of projects and programs, very different at many different stages through the life cycle of both starting up and how you start up. So the way we'll do this is a rapid fire. Rather than a deep dive, I wanted you to see the range. And so this brisk pace is about, on average, 5 minutes per topic. We can adjust a bit around that. And for each one, I've got a page of links. And tell me if you want to just leave it on that page of links or if you want to take off the screen share to show your story. Okay? And again, we've got a great group. And the message I'll say at the beginning and I'll repeat at the end is they are you. What they've done is impressive. They all started exactly where you are. So first is Vanessa. Do you want to take over?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Neil, for inviting me again to share furniture, our startup. I am sharing my screen now, and it's about our project. This project started in 2014 after my Fab Academy in Peru, in Lima, Peru. So our idea is to promote and contribute with the carpentry ecosystem according to these new technologies. This is my grandfather, Panchito, and Panchito literally helped me how to organize my ideas and join with Panchito, with technology and tradition and cultural tradition, gave me the opportunity to create this startup with my team in Peru. We received found a grant from the government of Peru to start my business with my partners. So after 10 years, we have the opportunity to create a business model, not just talking about prototypes, talking about business, about financials and grants and resources to continue evaluate what's the contribution that we can propose to this ecosystem. And first, I remember in that time, we received many mentoring about financial business, how we can integrate a multilateral platform and customize furniture by online, and people can buy our products and our furnitures, and they can customize their ideas, and then we can just fabricate locally and then distribute our idea to everybody. And then promoting the carpentry, promoting the technology, promoting digital fabrication, and promoting designers. So now actually our business model is improving better. I want to show you our new platform now. So we are very excited. We worked too many weeks to customize this online customization. So let me share my screen again because we have this exercise for you. I am sharing a link in this chat. So you can customize by online with us in the same time. So first, please go to this link and then try to enter to this page, ifurniture.com, and then you can go to test the prototype. And then this is our new platform ecosystem. We improve our project now. The idea is to customize more furniture, so you can choose one furniture here, and then you can choose units, millimeters, or inches, and then you can choose materials, and you can play with this platform. You can customize, rotate, choose different material, and they can change the price according to this customization. And now we are working with a web development team in our group. And now the last Friday we are playing with the llama. The llama is our next project. So let me refresh here.
Oh,
and
sorry, Vanessa, the
yes.
Zoom screen share. The Zoom screen share isn't showing it, but people can do it on their own screen.
Okay, great. Let me do it again. This one. Here is
Okay, that's working.
Yeah, this is the llama. It's our new project. We are literally playing and try to improve more technology about customization by online, and now try to connect this one with a business model, so you can choose different products, you can change material. And then we added this give me a coffee, because this is our startup, so you can click here and give us a coffee. It's a platform to receive crowdfunding for this project, and then you can go here. This is the feedback area that we implemented, so you can literally send us a comment how we can improve this project. And then when you send this feedback, we open our email and we receive all the information and feedback for customers. So now this is our new version of iFurniture. We are now asking for our second grant to improve this platform, because we want to implement all of this customization in different countries like Peru, USA, Chile, and Canada. Now we are working, translating in different languages, working in different catalogs. The best thing for me is we are joining designers that they want to design some furniture in their home, and then we can literally upload all those designs and then sell to different customers. And we are connecting local carpenters, and we are now applying the methodology about local fabrication and global design. So this is our new improvement.
Fabulous, Vanessa. Yeah, this is a really nice, straightforward route from Fab Academy, make something big, to this furniture startup. We're not going to have much time for Q&A, but all of the people presenting will be on. So put in the chat feedback and questions. Thank you, Vanessa. And we'll go to Honey Bunny. Do you want to take over the screen?
Hi. Yes, please. Safari.
We cannot share. I'm not sure why. Could you share for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, just our webpage.
Yeah, our website it's perfect.
Yeah. Startup recitation, share, meeting, and here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, hi everybody. We're really glad to be here. Our brand is Honey Bunny. We create silver jewelry with digital fabrication. We have different designs, bespoke ones. We have also collections that we make by ourselves, and a site special for corporatives, right?
Yeah, well, we are Yvonne and Luis, and we started this project a couple of years ago, when we realized that jewelry has this emotional aspect, but is not really focused on that. You know, the traditional brands are not focusing on this emotional aspect. It's something that we call effervescent joy. This is our main concept. So we both are Fab Academy alumni, and then after finding some inspiration, we realized that digital fabrication could leverage our project or ideas to build something interesting without needing some huge fabrication capabilities. Well, digital fabrication give us the chance to create all these pieces, all this jewelry in a very rapid way. We have this bespoke service. We can create some charms, and we co-create them with clients.
Cool.
And thanks to the digital fabrication, we can make them in just 48 to 72 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, and then we have just right below, there's a video. Thank you. We have this per se add-on in our jewelry that's called Memory Bunny, and that is that when you place close to your phone the jewelry, you can open a special moment. It could be a video, a picture, a special message, and it's just to go back to these happy memories that you might have that relate to the effervescent joy.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, we're focusing more on the experience. So the way we have to enhance this experience is through all this platform and starting from digital fabrication to create something very specific for our customer, to applying this other tech tech things and tech applications individually, so we can have a greater experience for our customers, and creating this emotional reaction in them.
And yes, well, we have pretty much. We've also been playing around a bit with AI tools, different AI tools to help us grow our business.
Yeah, AI has been something groundbreaking for us right now, because
our team is small.
Our team is small, but AI multiply our efforts in a very interesting way. So we have this mix between like the artisan way to make things, because usually we'll always need this artisan process, but we can leverage some of our creative processes with digital fabrication and AI. So it's been a couple of months that we have been trying this, and
we've really enjoyed it.
We have really enjoyed it, and it's very
Talk about your workflow. Is it all in-house, the production of the jewelry?
Yes, we have our workshop.
Yeah.
In about 1 year, we were buying all the equipment and having capacitations. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we love making things. It's something that we really enjoy, like putting our hands on. So we have 3D printers. We have all the machines that we need for casting. So we have, you know, like the office with our computers and
the
headquarters.
What we call the honey lab.
The honey lab.
Yes.
We have the honey lab. So there we come down to the honey lab. We place the 3D printer, and then we start working all the ideas. So it's very interesting, because if we have one idea and we want to build it, we can have it done in just 48 hours or less sometimes, if we have like the capacity at that moment. And it's like Yvonne said once,
it's like baking cookies.
We make jewelry as baking cookies, because we have one idea and we can, oh, let's do it, and we then have this little charm in silver. So it's interesting for us, and it's really we really enjoy making these things that may last almost forever. And it's like we had this moment where when we design, we create that, and this little silver piece of jewelry can stay there forever.
Mean something.
And mean something for someone.
Happiness.
Wonderful. Okay, impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any of these we could spend the hour on. Pablo, do you want to take over the screen?
Yes, please. I will share. Well, hello, my name is Pablo. Some of you know me, but some of them not. So I will speak a little bit of my history through Fabrico tus Ideas. I was a computer teacher in the past. Then I made the Fab Academy, and then all my world changes. My mindset make a turnaround, and something happens inside me that I had to make things. And also I hear about some kind of people that says that the goal of the personal fabrication is not to make what you can buy, but to make what you cannot buy. And then this changes my mind, and I have an idea to make my own brand, that it's Fabrico tus Ideas, call it like I make your ideas. This was me in the beginning, too young, too unconscious to start this thing. Until today, I was making ideas for everyone. What I'm doing now is like I can do from big, like Vanessa is making big things. I can make a full furniture for an office, or to small, I can make a little bit. This is a draw from handmade people from León, and I made in acrylic. I can make a lot of things. Everything I do is not realized until I finish, and I always keep it local. I try to make this service as a local for my town, that is León, because I think there are a lot of things I explain later. And this is my last incredible thing I made with a repository and a storefront. We make this wheel that when you put the hand in the acrylic of the crystal, then the wheel turns around. Seems like magic for most of the people, but you know that it's a step response sensor just making a motor run. But people goes crazy with this little thing in my town. So I think there are a lot of things you can make for your local. And who is my client? Who I make things for? The most of them are freelancers or small businesses or a startup that wants to make something that it's not really created until now, and then I start to make like an I plus D or RID for their business. This is an example I made for a trademark that says marrón y negro. I start making like this wood stand that all the pieces of they are selling are putting on. Then we create our own products. I started like prototyping this, and I make the production for this brand. And right now they are coming to becoming like a Fab Lab. They are purchasing lasers because they see how is it going, how fast they can go from an idea to a product. So they are really changing their mind like in a startup. And why I'm doing this? Okay, because I love making things. I love learning through making. I have fun, and also for the money. Yes, I do it for the money sometimes. But this is the most important thing, the wow effect. If someone explains you that has an idea that wants to become real, and you finally become it like a real product, it's like, wow, you can make it. And this is the effect I want to have in all my customers and all the people I work with. I have some problems, of course, when you're starting. The first one is the administration, someone that wants to understand what I'm doing. And even I can explain what I'm doing right now, so it's difficult. The other one is that I have imposter syndrome through all the years. I know that I know a little things related with the rest, but finally you realize that you are right in the track. And I have to make everything in my in my startup business. So it's really difficult. Which are my advantages? Okay, I can do it fast with local delivering because I only work in my town. I can be sustainable because I use local materials, so I work with woodworkers in the locals. I can be low cost because I can make one unit. That is something in the industry is not possible. And I can be repairable. Everything I do, I can do it again, or even that small part that they broke. So it's really, really a lot of things to have advantage. And also I have a little symbiosis with my Fab Lab. That is the key here. I have the Fab Lab Leon that is supporting me making these things. And I use Fábrica tus ideas to make even visibility for Fab Lab Leon in our local town. So I think it's important to have like this kind of symbiosis. And also would like to thank all the team from Fab Lab Leon that they are my best supporters and my best criticizers. So it's great to have like these crazy people around me. So as I resume, I started a project inside the Fab Lab, supporting local community of crafters and business, and I would love to help you to help your Fab Lab to be known around. So I think this is the main idea of Fabrico tus ideas.
Wonderful. And let's see, the biggest startup we'll see today, I think, is about 1,000 employees. At the opposite extreme, this is Pablo Incorporated. Pablo as a business, as a great on-ramp.
And make it memes, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pablo. We'll next go to Batul.
Hello.
And I assume you'll take over the
You want to
screen?
share? Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you want to share it from
Oh,
the
okay.
link, or you want me to share it?
No, I can if you want me to. So startup recitation, share a meeting, and okay.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Batul Rajdan. I'm the founder of Studio BUR. I'm both a graduate of Fab Academy and Fabri Academy, and that's how it started. So I started to merge everything I learned through this journey of the two diplomas, and I started offering engineering services to the fashion industry because there was a gap in that part. And I started selling B2B kind of a module where I work hand in hand with fashion designers. So I developed the 3D printed garments and the interactive wearables to them, and they implemented within their wearables on the runway. And this had been showcased on Fashion Week, New York, and other like luxurious runways. And also after it, I grew more and I started winning more awards, like the Fashion Tech Award for the 2024 and the Sustainability Award and the Industrial Award. And also like Kylie Minogue was wearing one of my creations, which is like so cool. And then I started developing my own line of products that are fully fabricated, that I fully fabricate them, which are the bags and other accessories. They are 3D printed directly on the more aesthetic, and also like I develop my own materials. So it's a mixture of technologies with like ranging from 3D printing to robotic. And my materials have been featured on the UNEP webpage, matching their sustainability goals. Ranging from onion peels to beetroot peels and coffee beans 3D printed directly on the fabric. And I've been through like several exhibitions from Cairo Design Week, Dubai Design Week, to other like prestigious exhibitions all around the world. And last but not least, yeah, I also like give workshops in several places, and my latest one was with Elegoo, which is like a 3D printing company, and we try to it's a way of giving back to the community and supporting other like females, for example, or other initiatives, or in the Crown Prince Foundation. And I've been featured in a lot of like magazines and like Forbes and Yahoo News for what I do. So that's a
Atul,
brief.
you've gotten a lot of attention. Talk about how you drive that visibility.
How I drive that visibility. Well, it's like it might sound very cliche to say, but like I didn't find the media, they found me. It was like I was so into the work, and then Reuters came up to me and they're like, we want to take a video of you working at the lab. And then this Reuters video went viral, and then it was the start, and then Forbes, and then it went all the way. So it's like I never went to media, and they still like trying to approach me, but I'm like that introvert extrovert kind of like a person, so I'm not like always up to the interviews, but they still try. They're curious to shoot at the lab how I fabricate everything from the start to the finish.
Great. Okay. Continuing on at our brisk pace. Thank you, Batul. And we have Teddy next. Do you want to take over?
You could share the website. That'd be great.
Oh,
How are
sorry.
y'all?
Okay, let me go back, share, show meeting, and here. And then Teddy, can you step back to describe your arc?
Yeah. I have a pretty cool timeline. I started off, I'm a graduate of the Fab Academy in 2021, out of Charlotte Latin. Shout out. On a whim, wound up in Los Angeles studying product design and film and business at university for about a year. If you guys have been to California, and I think anywhere that this call touches, there's pretty pretty easy to get caught up in the startup ecosystem. So I moved out to California and I started a venture. And one of the advisors for this venture, David, runs this AI lab, Midjourney. And so I ran a venture for a year, and the venture went nowhere. It failed, but it got me a job at Midjourney. And so it was a success in my book. And so I wound up exiting from my venture, joining Midjourney, and helped spin up the internal hardware team there. Midjourney is doing hardware, consumer electronics devices, medical grade data collection, and internal facing data collection. I don't know if there's anything on the website. I have to be somewhat ambiguous, but nonetheless, pretty cool. Was there for a few months, and then I left 9 months ago. Now I run a robotics lab called Intempus, as you can see from my very HTML website. And I make robots expressive. I make them convey their intent and their emotions to people who otherwise would not understand them. There's a pretty interesting phenomena that happened with the internet, and I think is happening again with digital fabrication, where you can make an evolving technology really prolific and really easy to understand and allow people to, just work on things that they understand innately. This doesn't exist for robots. There are a lot of robots currently, right now, in industry. And these robots work wonderfully, and they fail occasionally. And whenever they fail, you have to pay some expensive nerd like me, some robotics PhD, a lot of money, $185 to $550 an hour on average in the US, come in and debug for 3.5 to 11 hours per debug sesh on average in the US. And more often than not, robots fail for silly reasons. If I'm a Roomba moving stuff around in an Amazon factory, I don't fail because my wheel broke or because a wire came out. I fail because I got stuck behind a trash can or because there's a person in my way. And most people don't know why robots fail because they don't understand the command line. They can't communicate with the robots. And so robots fail. They have no means of communicating. And then they just move on and do something else. And this is bad. And so what Intempus does is we allow robots to dynamically look at their surroundings, figure out when they fail, and convey why they fail expressively. Just like how all of us can communicate with dogs and cats and infants and things that can't speak but can still kind of move. Why should robots be any different? And so this is my to date. Intempus started as a research project while I was at Midjourney, my side project of sorts. There's this pretty cool observation. If you guys all think back to your infant days, you just came into the world, you've never taken a day of high school math or physics, and yet you have these two little stereoscopic sensors that we call your eyes, and you look around and the light reflects in different ways, and you see parallax and depth, and you distill this very complex model of the world that we call physics from very simple data that are your eyes. And this is hardly a prophetic observation. Many big AI labs are working on these things, and yet we didn't have prolific robots, and we didn't have prolific models. And so I just said, oh, this seems like an interesting space to research. And I did this for 4 months, wound up proving out, I have a bunch of research on this website, happy to field questions over email as well. And then still almost self-funded. I've received a bit of funding from the Peter Thiel's fellowship, but outside of this, self-funded and started this research. And now I work with 7 enterprise robotics companies, and I get to put this thing in the world. And it's really a wonderful experience to A, see something that you built like tangibly enter the world, and B, hopefully make it easier to interact with evolving technology.
Good. I was about to ask how you're funded. So you bootstrap, self-funded, and then you found companies to work with?
I'm bootstrapped, self-funded for 9 months, 7 enterprise companies, the Thiel fellowships, a few $100,000, which is nice wiggle room in the meantime. And then I may be closing a fundraise in a few weeks as like an additional catalyst. I'm hiring. If anyone's interested, my email's out there.
Then this is interesting. For the startup, it's a really deep research page with a lot of detail.
I operate under the belief that I can't really make my idea a moat, or I can't really make my research a moat. I would rather publish all of my research and get engineers really excited about it and hope that I'm compelling enough that they want to come work for me. And if they don't come work for me and they do something that's competing, so be it. It's probably good for the future. And so it's really like a test to how compelling I can be. And so a lot of my initial research is public with the intent of, I want engineers to read this, get really excited about this like novel architecture that can make robots dynamic, and then want to come join me.
Great. Okay, thank you, Teddy. We're going to go on to Bhutan. Chirag?
Thanks, Neil. Can I share my screen?
Of course.
Uh, so yeah, I work with the Super Fab Lab, which is under recording and investments. So if you look at the map, I know most of you, since you visited Bhutan, already know where it is. But then for those who don't know, it's just a tiny dot between India, China, Bangladesh, one of the most populous countries in the world. And for us, we're heavily reliant on hydro, agriculture, and tourism. And we have always been first-hand consumers of technology. And we've always relied upon foreign countries. And that's where some of the questions that were like, how do we develop technology? How do we build R&D ecosystem in the country? How do we create startups and next generation of industries? That's where I think there was a push from His Majesty the King and also the whole of the country to build something such as the Super Fab Lab, which acts as a innovation space. So we wear multiple hats. It's an innovation space. We also do a lot of startup works, and we also try training the students, teachers, so doing everything under the sun. And if you look at the map of Bhutan, you see there are around six, now seven Fab Labs. And with our Fab Labs, we've also built two mini labs in different schools. So roughly, Bhutan also has a population of just about 700,000. So there's one Fab Lab for 77,000 people in Bhutan. And that's a fun fact. And we also hosted the Fab 23 Bhutan. And with that, we got a lot of knowledge and resource sharing in terms of things that we could do in Bhutan. And after that, we found some problems that were in the local societies. And we now currently do a lot of project in Internet of Things, whereby we use the lab to fabricate most of our products that go into the field. For example, this is a PCB that was designed, milled in the SuperFab Lab, and it's the brain of the system that controls, monitors, and also provides data to a LoRa network, and everything can be controlled remotely. So this the water management we installed in the village. Then we did it for a bigger town. And if you see these 3D printed cases, they have been tested, and we've done a lot of iterative R&D, and we sell this as a product to the government. And now countries like Nepal, Bangladesh, India are interested in our product. So we do multiple types of things, but whatever is feasible and can be scalable to the market, we take that to the next level and try to spin it off as a startup. And from the water distribution to the water transmission system, now we're working on the glacial lake outburst flooding. So some of the sensor, if you look somewhere here, so all of the parts were fabricated inside the lab, and inside there's a battery within which there's also a PCB that was milled in the lab. And here, that's another project. So with the glacial lake outburst flooding, we are trying to build a uh, remote modeling and a simulation system that can predict the glacial lake outburst flooding in the region. It's a big threat in Bhutan and the South Asian region. And with all of these IoT projects, we also are doing another project, which is to determine the soil fertility for the government, for the Ministry of Agriculture. So the concept is the same. We have a PCB that was milled, designed at the lab, then try getting the data from the sensors, send it over using LoRaWAN, or if there's a mobile communication, then we use telco providers. And this is the dashboard that we have for the project. Additionally, we're also very much focused on low-tech technology. And this was one of the exercises we did in assistive technology. So we collaborated with Fab Lab Shinagawa to do the first makeathon for people who are differently abled. And now we have got a lot of government as well as foreign funding to continue doing it more. So here we are designing the chair for people who are specially able. Then this one is a table with partition because the kids cannot focus at all. So these are like simple things that we've built. Now for the next phase, we are trying to commercialize this and send it to relevant manufacturers, furniture manufacturers, because our goal at the Superfab Lab is not to mass produce, as we also want to give space for research and development and to also train people. And these are like simple stencils that were laser cut, and kids who have a difficulty in writing, they use this. So with all of this project, this is how we see the overall innovation ecosystem in the country, where we place the Super Fab Lab as the facilitator, then we have VHI, which funds the lab as drivers, and together we want to build a whole innovation ecosystem. So for us, the priorities are a little different, but yeah, in the end, our end goal is to build some commercial startups. And this is something interesting. Now, Bhutan bring in innovation, to bring in different companies. We're creating a special administrative region. It's called the GMC, and will be focused on mindfulness, spirituality, technology, and a lot of research into advanced industries. And we're bringing something also with the Center for Bits and Atoms and Neil. So if you're interested, yeah, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you. Over to you,
Great.
Neil.
Okay, thank you, Chirag, and we'll go on to Kerala.
Hi, am I audible?
Good. Audio, video, and screen are good.
Yes. So 2015 was a big year for us. I think 2015 is when the state government of Kerala created Kerala Startup Mission and made it a nodal agency to work with all the startups in the state. At that point of time, we were working out of a very small facility that you see in the picture, and we had about 30 startups working with us. And so 2015 was big because we came up with the startup policy and because we set up our first 2 Fab Labs in the state. Being one of the first publicly available prototyping centers, we had a lot of people coming in and solving local problems. One of the examples is, if you have been to Kerala, we have a lot of coconut trees. These are tall trees without branches, 30 feet tall. And everybody had to climb, a person had to climb this every day, cut the flower and take the nectar from it. And once it is fermented, it is a very sweet alcohol. Without fermenting it, it can be used for a lot of medicinal purposes. But then extracting this nida was a very difficult process. So one of the startups created a machine that can essentially cut the flower, take the nectar, and supply it. And this machine was made from the Fab Lab. And similarly, we had a host of startups coming to us to help to build products. And the number of startups coming to us made us take the decision to work with Neil and set up a Super Fab Lab in the state. In 2019, we set up the Super Fab Lab. And we moved into a larger facility from a 10K facility, which was a 200K square feet facility. So with what essentially this Super Fab Lab allowed us to do is, this was a prototyping center which was not really available for startups anywhere else in the state or in this part of the country. So a lot of startups came to our organization and started getting incubated with us. So we started running a host of programs for these startups. We ran a cancer research program with one of the medical colleges here, and one of the startups that came out of this was a startup that detects oral and cervical cancer through imaging. We worked with Brink, which is a accelerator based out of Shenzhen and Barcelona. So they run a few cohorts here. Unity came and ran an accelerator program for startups in the gaming space. And we also ran a program with the Indian Space Research Organization on space tech. Interesting startups came out of all of these programs. From the space tech program specifically, one of the startups that came up has already launched their rocket last year. It's a rocket with a semi-cryogenic rocket with a 3D printed engine, and they are planning to go commercial this year. So what we provide these startups is, so whenever a startup comes to us, we help them validate the idea. We give them a small grant to help them build the prototype. They can use the Super Fab Lab and the other facilities that we have in order to build the prototype. And then we connect them to investors, we connect them to customers, and we help them even work with government by selling their products or services to the government. And we also do quite a bit of work in terms of building the startup pipeline. We have set up innovation centers across 200 academic institutions in the state. So we essentially take innovators or ideators right from colleges all the way till their VC funding or Series A funding. This is what we do. Over the last 10 years, from a small 10,000 square feet space, we have grown to a network of incubator and fab labs with 500,000 square feet of space, 6,000 companies registered with us. And we have also been investing into the companies that we have created, and we've got above market average returns from our fund of funds so far. Two of our startups incubated with us for the last 5-6 years have also joined to share their story. Salton creates a pick and place machine. We have procured one, and they come up with newer versions of it, and they work with a lot of corporates to service their needs. IRO recently raised a 15 million USD funding round. They develop underwater drones, which can be used by a host of services, including underwater inspections, oil and gas industry, search and rescue, Navy. So there are a host of companies that work with IRO. I let Salton and IRO speak about what they've been doing and their experience.
And for time, we can spend about 2 minutes on each.
Unni, maybe you can start.
Sure. I would like to present.
We can't see your screen, Unni.
Again, since time is limited, Tom, can you share for Zalton and just talk in words?
Neil, can you open that?
Okay, just use the website and talk. Again, it's only a few minutes for each of these. Please go ahead.
Unni, you seem to be on mute.
Yeah, initially we started working on one of the electronics projects, and we faced the problem of prototyping, which many of you may also face during your developments. And during the Fab Academy, you have experienced the same thing, how to assemble electronics when components are very small. So we initially went on to develop some small products, pick and place machines directly addressing the needs of prototyping or small scale manufacturing. And initial phases, we developed everything in-house, from the controllers, drivers, all the software, even vision processing algorithms, everything we developed in-house. And we commercialized that product. And unfortunately, one of the things we found was like Indian market was not ready for, especially for the hobbies, that kind of product segment. Then we kind of pivoted and started Salton, and where we are now focusing on mostly on the need of industry, because industry is also having the same challenge. When we are developing the product, they also need to do the prototyping. So how do we provide the same solutions? So we have developed a suite of products which basically allows them to complete product development, like pick and place machines, desktop reflow ovens, and basically stencil printers, everything complete together. They'll be able to get the complete product development cycle. So one of the lessons that I have learned during my journey is like it's not just to have the technical excellence to get the products ready, but there should also be some product market fit where you should be able to push the products out. So we made this pivot to the business side. So this is basically our story so far.
Okay, good. Sorry to rush. Thank you for that. And then Tom, the other one.
Yeah, so good evening all. Am I audible?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so myself Kannappa, and we are from the company called Airo Technologies, and basically we are based out of Cochin, and as already introduced by Tom and Calcium, we have been incubated there from 2016. So we just came up with a scratch, napkin ideas. So practically my background is from mechanical engineering and masters in ocean engineering, whereas our CEO is from robotics background, and we had been behind this robotics things from our academic time, it's 2006 onwards. So it's been like now about 18 years or so. We have been in the builder space, so we have been always passionate and driven by robotics. So one of the challenges we faced, while on one of my professional career was that there have been some incident where underwater inspection was required, and I happened to be on board a vessel. So that triggered a requirement or a need or a spark for building something. Whereas ROV was not an invention, whereas it was a solution that we wanted to build. So as just Sony also said, we started off with the thought of like making a great product company, but as we entered into the industry, started building initial scratch products, we understood that we should also refine our product over the period of time, and entering as a service company was a better option. So we built our products, we refine them by putting them into field and collecting data for the clients. So we've gone more into service sector. Through the process, we actually refined our product much better. Now we are also selling our products also, but that's the both kind of business models that we are operating now. Whereas from the Fab Lab side, practically one of the in my background, you could see one of the product which is Aero Tuna. So the I would say the character, that is the helmet, like this orange cover that is called fairing. So and the side frame. So these are all the components we actually did from the router. We did multiple operations cut using Fab Lab facility. So these are our initial time. We actively used Fab Lab to build those things, and now we are building them from commercial entities. But as a hardware manufacturing company, we use a lot of facilities in Fab Lab to build our products. And currently, we started off 2 member. Currently, we are at 50 plus members, and then growing strongly, meeting a lot of
Great.
customer requirements. Yeah,
Okay.
that's from. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As always, very impressive in Kerala. Now we're going to go on to Will, and in particular, I asked Will to tell his startup life arc.
Great. Hi, everyone. So I'm Will Langford. I'm going to give you a super rapid tour through my startup experiences at these three companies. So in my freshman year of undergrad, I was on my spring break and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my summer. And coincidentally, these three guys who I'd been following online had just announced that they were starting a company to make desktop low-cost 3D printers. I didn't know anything about 3D printing at the time, but that sounded awesome. I emailed them, and a week later, I was signed up to work odd jobs with them that summer. And they really delivered on that. The first summer I was there, I laser cut personally many of the first 100 MakerBots that went out the door, designed a frosting extruder that ended up on the Jimmy Fallon show, and then returned in subsequent years and got to see that startup's growth from the 3 founders to 10 people to 20 people. And that really cemented my interest in startups, seeing the kind of growth and excitement around it. But it also cemented my interest in digital fabrication and 3D printing. I would work on these printers all day during the day, take the train home, and on the train ride home would be designing parts and then printing them overnight, late into the night on my personal printers in my bedroom. And so inevitably, I ended up at the Center for Bits and Atoms to sort of explore the world of digital fabrication even more deeply. It's sort of like a playground for all the tools to make anything on any length scale. And while I was at the CBA doing my PhD with Neil, One of the classes I was TAing, the physics of information technology, I ended up meeting my eventual co-founder, who at the time was trying to move little pieces of paper with electrostatics. And paraphrasing, Neil basically said, no, that's a dumb idea. You should do electrowetting instead. And that's what he did. So he started a company, and I later joined on as co-founder to build a company around this electrowetting technology that lets you manipulate droplets essentially on a circuit board using electrostatics. And we saw a need in the DNA sequencing sample prep market, where essentially there are these very tedious workflows that involve many manual pipetting steps. And there's automation in this world, but it's very rigid, inflexible. Basically, you set it up once and you're not really going to want to set it up for any other application. And so we saw a need for a much more software-defined, agile automation system, one that could take any sort of sample input and do the required processing to turn it into something that you can load on a sequencer. So we built a team. When I joined, we had 5 people on the team, and we grew the team over a couple of years to 30 people. And we built a product around this technology. Building a complex product like this is very challenging. Feel free to contact me later and I can get into more of the details on that. But also startups themselves are especially challenging, especially small startups. So eventually I decided to move on and join a larger startup that had a very, very similar arc. So Formlabs, I'm now at Formlabs, and our mission here is to build the tools that make it possible for anyone to bring their ideas to life. So in a lot of ways, I see this as a homecoming for my interest in digital fabrication and 3D printing. But similarly, this company also got its start in one of Neil's classes in the 2009 How to Make Almost Anything. Max, David, and Natan all met. And then a couple of years later, they had a working prototype. And now it's a 700-person company spanning 7 offices with 130,000 plus printers sold and 300,000 parts, or 300 million parts, sorry, and spanning 2 robust sort of product lines, one in SLA and one in SLS. I'm currently leading the electronics and software on new SLS products, and would love to talk more if anyone's interested.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Will. Yeah, and again, 2 emerging themes in this is almost all startups almost fail, but you learn a lot from how you respond to it. And generally, a startup isn't a life commitment, but there's a lot of flow through it. Thank you, Will. Kevin, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So I invited Kevin for a couple reasons, but one of the main ones is one of the startups create ecosystems, and one of the things successful startups do is spawn startups. And so there's a very interesting arc from that Fab class to Formlabs to what Kevin will talk about. So about 5 minutes, Kevin.
Yep. So it's fitting that I followed the Formlabs story because I started my career at Formlabs. In fact, I was working in Skunkworks R&D and I started the Fuse project. And that's where I met 4 of the 5 co-founders of Lumafield. The 5th one we met through Formlabs, although he wasn't a Formlabs employee. So we started a company called Lumafield. We make X-ray CT scanners, which actually featured in some of Will's slides about an early CBA class. We make the hardware and software. These are designed and manufactured in the United States. And we've got big companies in basically every vertical. This isn't just something interesting to, oil and gas or medical devices. We've got consumer packaged goods, cosmetics, sports and athletics, defense, automotive, you name it. We make a variety of different scanners. They differ in their X-ray source and detector, and some are for lab and quality labs and R&D, and others are for high throughput manufacturing environments. They all basically work the same way. You gather some data, it goes to the cloud for some computation and analysis, and then we present it to you in your browser. Why we did this, we set out to do for measurement and inspection what has happened for design and manufacturing. And so the CBA and Fab Labs have given people incredible new tools for design and manufacturing their ideas, but it's still pretty hard to know whether what you made is what you wanted, whether what you made is good or has some fatal or unintended or invisible flaw. And that's what we've done. We closed the loop on design and manufacturing. One of my co-founders has a saying from his mentor that any failure, any product flaw was either a bad design or a mistake in manufacturing. And we help people find both, get really good quality data to feedback so they can change their design or change their manufacturing process. We view ourselves as closing the loop. So if you think about a classical control theory and your design or manufacturing process is in the forward path, LumaField closes the loop. And I'll leave here just a couple kind of examples of the data that you can see on a variety of objects from plastic packaging and electronics. When we started, CT scanning was complicated and expensive, and it was widely viewed as a tool of last resort. And what we are trying to do is make it the go-to first, a mechanical engineer's oscilloscope, if you like, something that's easy enough and cheap enough that it can be in every lab and in every factory, and you can get that data back very quickly to solve your problems. And so you'd be shocked at how many sneakers we scan. They're objects of incredible complexity that I didn't fully appreciate. Scan a lot of disposable plastic containers because although the per piece value is low, if you're making 10,000 parts an hour of anything and there's a problem and you don't know whether it's the material or the operator or the machine or the mold, that's an expensive problem that you got to get to the bottom of pretty quickly. So similar to Formlabs, where we set out to create tools to let people design and manufacture at unprecedented quality and speed. And I think we've largely succeeded on that front.
Great, very impressive, Kevin. Yeah, one of his founders, Eduardo, who's flying right now, passed through CBA and saw how micro-CT is one of our most beloved tools.
I like to say that we make the 3D unprinter. So you have a design file, press a button, and your 3D printer gives you an object. What we make is you have an object, press a button, and you get a design file. And so my career has gone full circle. I started with SLS, and now I'm un-SLSing some things of a sort.
And one of the interesting things LumaField has done is it's a substantial capital investment for a micro CT today. They've turned it into CT as a service where you can pay for scanning rather than the large upfront cost for the machine. At some point, I would love to democratize these. This is the dream 3D scanner. I'd love to continue to expand access to it as they've been doing. Once you have access to a micro CT, you never go back. Okay, and in the last minute, I'll just mention this is the last Fab Academy cycle where I do everything. In the future, we're building up a larger team, similar to how other Academy classes work. And one of the reasons is for me to spend time on some other projects. One is the Fab Futures program that was inspired by Bhutan initially for 21st century vocational skills. And then the last one we announced in Mexico. Progress has been slow, but I want to ramp it up for the fall. This is a distributed incubator. Fab Academy and Academy are working, but at the end of that, for finding investment and mentoring, you just spend an hour with great examples, but each one is kind of anecdotal. Each required unusual people to push through unusual challenges to find it. we want to try to help scale the whole network as infrastructure rather than you going to an incubator. We want to bring the incubator to you. So we have a team of really interesting, successful entrepreneurs, investors, and we'll be ramping up a globally distributed incubation program. And the goal is to turn that on in the fall, and we'll show more about that planning at Fab 25 to come. So that's the startup recitation. You might be intimidated by all of these shiny, impressive things, but we should take away from this is they are you. Everyone you just heard from started as you where you are now and was able to accomplish all of this. And you span the scale. All startups are as different as people, spanning from a one-person organization to 1,000-person organization, and for-profit and nonprofit and local and global. And there's roles for all of them. And so hopefully this can inspire you to realize you can do this. So very impressive, spectacular. Thank you, everyone. I'll post the video, and class on Wednesday was going to be all about invention, incubation, much more on startups. So great session. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And recording has stopped. Yeah, real pleasure to listen to all of these, just individually and collectively as the network of these.
Thank you all.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.